So India having resumed 180 without loss, have pushed down to 95 without loss as West Indies have started the second day with their two most senior bowlers, Jarasal clipped that one off his leg, down back with a square leg, and the score pushed up to 96 without loss. Hello everyone and welcome to day 2 of the West Indies versus India in the first test match live from Windsor Park in Grenada. In Dominica, sorry. With me this morning is Mr. Stanford Davis. Mr. Stanford Davis is a person that loves cricket second in best in the world because I am the #1 lover of cricket and Davis is the #2. Welcome to the show, Mr. Davis.
Thank you very much, Mr. Brown. Good morning to you and good morning to your listeners and viewers.
Yes, thank you very much for being here, sir. I must tell you that Mr. Davis, the principal of Mayday High School reached the finals of the Jamaica Headley Cup cricket competition for high school boys in Jamaica, where they came second. And presently on the Jamaica under-19 team playing in the regional Rising Star cricket competition, two students from Mr. Davis High School are members of that Jamaica team that are in Trinidad playing in the under-19 competition. Now, Mr. Davis, at his school, he has 3 programs. He has an under-14 program, he has an under-16 program, and he also has an under-19 program. My first question to you, Mr. Davis, before we look at the West Indies performances, is how do you fund these programs? Mr. Davis, are you there? Did you hear the question?
Yes, I'm here. I just got a call from a coach, Mr. Simpson, but yes, sir. All right. How do we fund?
Yeah, how do you fund all 3 programs? Because you have an under-14 program, you have an under-16 program,
well, right
and you
now
also have the under-19 program.
Right. So that's a very good question because the answer to that is that presently we are in a big deficit and we have some bills from the last season to pay. And right now our football is to start and all of that. So it's very, very difficult. We are making appeal to corporate Jamaica. We've gotten some assistance from our past students. But this year, even the compliance with the parents and the parent contribution has been the lowest ever that I can remember. So it is challenging, but I guess the love for the game and the love for the children is something that we continue to assist as much as we can. Even today, one of my cricketers is to go to Kingston for the under-17. He's in the 18-man squad for Jamaica, and I have to find a way to get him to Kingston. So really, of a fact, based on the background of our parents, it's very difficult for us as a school, and we really had to go out on a limb this year to reach where we did. And I mean, people see on the front how we perform, but it really took a lot out of us, especially financially, to reach where we are now.
Okay, so you have supplied to Jamaica cricket this year two players in the under-19, and now you have in one going to Kingston, who's in the 18-man squad for the under-17 team. Have you ever get any contribution whatsoever from Jamaica Cricket Association? Because you are providing cricketers. You are one of the few high schools in Jamaica who are providing cricketers to the Jamaican program. Have you ever get any contribution from the Jamaica Cricket Association?
No, not as yet, sir. I'm hoping that I try to get some balls from them, but they said based on their contracts or something, I was not able to get it. So when we opened our play field a couple of years ago, Mr. Francis did come to the opening, and we get support in terms of correspondence, speaking, and all of that, calling us for the boys to get. But we have to find the finances, even to get the boys to trials, to training, and many of the other schools don't even assist their children. And sometimes we have to, you know what we have to do? Assist the other students from other schools, even states, to get to Kingston for their trials. Even the day when we had the finals, I had to ask my son to assist some of them to reach Kingston for the trials. So it's difficult, and I think the support that is required is not there, and the interest is also another challenge we have where cricket is concerned, and the performance of West Indies, of course, is not helping. So everything becomes more difficult as the day goes by. So basically, that's it.
So how many schools, it just came to me, how many schools in Jamaica now do you know that are presently playing cricket?
Mm, I am not sure. I would have to look back at the fixtures for the under 16 and the under 19 and the 14 competitions. What I know is that compared to last year, and when I say last year, last academic year, this
Right.
year there was an improvement, and I think that's come next year there'll be more persons because I've been appealing to them. And for example, this year, Alphonsus Davis High School entered under 14 for the very first time, or for the first time in a long time. So we are trying to get more schools interested. At one time, it was the numbers were very high, and we are trying to get back there. So I'm trying to do what I can in my little small corner to get more schools involved in cricket. But the cost is a major challenge.
Yes, and we know that your love for the cricket goes far beyond just investing in it. You are actually your school official scorers. You follow them to every match. You participate in every match. Congratulations on that, Mr. Davis. What inspires you
Thank
to
you.
do all these things?
Well, from I was a little boy, cricket was part of me. I started playing cricket from probably before I started to talk. So I've been playing cricket all my life. I went to primary school. We used to play on a little red dirt place, make our own bats, make our own balls. We play in the road, and sometimes we hear vehicles coming. It wasn't a popular place, rural community, South Manchester. But when we hear vehicles coming, my little district was off the main road. And sometimes instead of taking up the stones that we use as a wicket to run, I leave them in the road. And the people start to blow. We have to come back and assist them. So we use, let me tell you, we use sour orange, right? We use coconut bow. We use damsel to make that. We use rubber from the tire, right? We used to wrap them, put a stone in the middle, wrap them. After became more sophisticated, we started to plait them. And we use this to play competition amongst the local districts. So we have a little district where I'm from, Huntington, we have Smithfield, we have Portertown, we have Resource, and then all of that would come together and make one team. And then we'd play against bigger teams like Woodlands and um, all of that. And that's how we used to do it. And then we used to play later on, went to high school, played, but we used to play corridor cricket in the community and so forth. To play against other communities, I play music, and so cricket has always been a part of my life.
So do you want to join my Corrigoat team, sir? Because I play Corrigoat match almost every weekend, sir. Do you want to join our
Okay,
team?
well, right now we entered the SDC Masters. We want to play one match. The second match, our team didn't come together, and
Okay,
we
so
lost it. So
you were supposed to be in Westmoreland on Saturday.
that,
You didn't turn
right,
up to Paradise on Saturday.
right, because we weren't able to feel a team because everybody had other engagements, including myself. So I was actually in
Yes.
Ochi at my sister's 50th birthday. Couldn't miss it, so I was trying to get out of it, but never worked. So we do apologize for that, and we couldn't find 11 other persons. Having played the first match, I think the pain and the aches and so forth that we have is having a toll on us.
Okay. Mr. Casanova is saying that Taki High School, are you seeing it on the screen? Is what he's saying? He's saying that Taki High School, which is a past school of John Campbell High School, um,
Hmm.
is doing decent, but the money is the problem for all of them. I saw a
Hmm.
video with Taki High principal saying Campbell used to help them. So there's a past student, John Campbell, helping Taki High School. Are you aware of the program at Taki High School, sir? That's a question coming in from one of the viewers.
Well, yes, I'm aware that they have a very good program. Mr. Basco, the principal, is my good friend, and I mean, when Taki is playing, we always support them, and they're playing against us or against Manchester High. But we are aware that they have been doing very well over the years, and they have been trying to win a title. The under 16 this year was shared with Manchester High because of rain, and I congratulate them. But yes, I am very impressed with Taki. The challenge we have with Taki is that because the other schools in that area are not playing, we have to travel or they have to travel. So for this year, for example, the travel bill, the transportation for Taki was out of this world. They had to travel because they reached so far in the competition. They had to travel so much all over Jamaica. They have to find places to stay. So they have transportation, they have costs for meals, everything. And all of that is on them. So it's really challenging.
And no help from any sponsor, no help from the JCA, and
Not that I'm
no
aware of.
help from no one.
No, I think that probably when they have the finals, and so ISA might subsidize some of the transportation. I am not
Okay,
100% sure, but they did promise that.
okay. Jarasal has moved on to 52. Sharma is on 39. India 104 without loss, replying to West Indies 150 made yesterday. What do you think about the performance of the West Indies yesterday? We have seen where West Indies performance is spiraling down, 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 and according to Carl Hooper, it will get lower. What do you think of the performance of the team yesterday?
Well, to be honest, I was cautiously optimistic when they started, but I knew the quality of the Indian team and the spinners and the bowling, and the fact that we do struggle against good spinners. We have spinners in the Caribbean, but because they're not of the caliber of those spinners, we tend to really struggle when we play against them. So, but I did expect them to play a little more than that. 150 is really a one-person score in cricket, and you can see that by the way India has responded. What I want to ask though is if they change the pitch after West Indies were all out, because I noticed that now it's easy batting and we chose to bat first and we couldn't play. I mean, when you bat first and play 115, I mean, you're starting on the back foot right away and you're just going to try to defend. I think the only question now is how long will this test match last? Will India bat for 2 3 days to make it worth the while of the people, or will they declare and just get us out? So it's really painful to see where West Indies, where our team is right now. But at the same time, we have the tendency to dwell in the past. We cannot use the past now, except for history, to build the future. We have to understand that this is where we are now. Okay? I have a principle that I use, and that's what I use at my school, the Moses principle. What do you have in your hands? So I don't worry too much about what was, unless I use it, as statistics and data to use to go forward. But I cannot now say that when we had all of these great players for West Indies, they used to do well. The world has changed. The technology has changed. I mean, when you come as a new player, quick time they get all the information on you. They can see every time you get out, how you get out. So the whole thing now is a science. It's money. You have to have money. The biggest problem I have though, with West Indies is that when we have a team like West Indies, our best team should be playing at all times. And that is my concern. I don't think our best team is playing. And I want to go back to the T20 and the 50 over competition. You find that we have persons who are top class in the world, but they are not playing for West Indies because of the money they are getting. And in the olden days, really, people used to play for passion and for love for their country. So we have to find a way to get that passion back into our players, not just the passion for money, but the passion for representing your country and recognizing that the highest thing that you can do is to really represent your country, and that with the money will come, but that will make a big difference. I also believe that the West Indies Cricket Board needs to find a way to make it more attractive for the cricketers to play for West Indies. And there's something that is burning my heart. I know Jamaica, we're the largest cricket nation. How many have played in Jamaica? Not even the regional under 15, under 17, under 19 competition. None of them have played in Jamaica. I'm just saying Jamaica, far from the other places, and hence the cost of them play. But in the old time, they used to play in Jamaica, and people used to come out when the CPL for the first time in many years. And we're going back to square one now. We don't get any CPL again, and it's just, I believe that when you hurt Jamaica, it affects every other aspect. And I think something needs to be done to get Jamaica on board. And when I say Jamaica, I mean coming to play cricket in Jamaica, even if it's to play under 15 regional competitions. Something has to be done to get our Jamaica back in the team. Our Jamaica Cricket Association, I was going to say they need to do more, but perhaps I have to probably find out what they're doing. For the ISA competition, they provided the shirt and pants for the boys, and we want to thank them for that. And that is a good start. But we need to have cricket competition. I understand the Wheels and Wheels might be playing this year during the summer. COVID did have an impact, but I think bad things got worse. It was going down from before COVID. We need to get our primary school students playing cricket, right? And we're just talking about it is one thing, but we need to do it. And we need to put the funds there. I think it's the same thing like education system. When we say we want to put the money in the at the beginning,
So Mr. Davis, if you were to pick the West Indies team for this match, how many players in this match would you have left out?
To be honest with you, um, I by the way, Carl Mayers is ill. He's injured.
Ian said that they considered him, but he has a nigger. He has a
Okay.
little nigger.
Okay. Well,
Yes. So
certainly I would have him in
how
my
many
team.
players would you have leave out of this 11? If you were picking this West Indies team for this match, who would you have in your 11?
You putting me on the spot, but I have not
They
thought
have been,
about it enough. Because to be honest with you, I was when you're coming up to this series, I was actually distracted watching the under 19 boys, watching the girls. I wasn't paying much attention to West Indies Test cricket per se. But certainly Carl Mears would be in my team as it relates to the bowling. I can't see Reefer take carrying water for my team. That's the truth.
you can't
I,
see Reefer carrying water for your team. Do you mean
no,
Mayday High School?
not even Mayday, but I
Not
can't
even
see my way.
Mayday.
No, I can't see.
Are you, Mr. Davis, are you saying that Raymond Reefer cannot carry water for Mayday High School?
No, that's just joking. But seriously, I don't think I would have him on my West Indies team though.
Okay.
So he
You have been
certainly wouldn't
talking
be there.
about.
There's a person who, boy, let me call it Hope. That person I've been talking about. When it comes to Test cricket, he doesn't do as well as the 50 over and so forth. But I think I would have Hope in my team because in a team you need to have hope. I mean, a team without hope is a dead team. So certainly, Hope should be in our team. When I look at the bowling now, boy, the spinners. Well, you have Roach, you have Holder, and we have Alzheimer. Seem to be getting some stick. Look at Indians like his bowling. Those
But
three.
there's a lot of talk about persons in the team like Pooran and Hetmeyer and so on in the test team. What do you think about those guys in the test team, or do you think they're just T20 players? As we watch, so India have reached 106. Is Joseph, as I said, Joseph is getting some sticks. He is in his seventh over. He has so far conceded 31 runs. So let's look at the last delivery of his seventh over as he passes the umpire and ball to Sharma, and Sharma leaves that one alone outside the ash stumps and it goes through to the keeper. So at the end of the over, India 106 without loss, replying to West Indies 150 all out. Yes, what do you think about guys like Pooran and Hetmeyer and so on in the squad? There's a lot of talk about these guys being in the squad. What do you think?
Okay. Well, in terms of having our best team, those persons really deserve to be there. The problem is goes back to the money issue. With it, you can hardly get them to play. Like Hetmeyer, for example, is a young man. If I was in charge, was that he has to play with Test cricket, and I'm going to force him to play. You know, I have to find a way, get in his headspace to see what is he thinking. He's talented. I mean, a few years, and he loves the game. As far as I see, there are sometimes some, young people, talented people are difficult to deal with. They're the
So it's
ones who
man management. It comes down to man
yes,
management skills.
yes, definitely, definitely,
And as someone, as a principal, you think that having have to manage so many students and teachers and so many egos and so many personalities, you think you
uh,
would have the skill to deal with such an individual
I,
like
I,
Hetmeyer?
I'm not saying I'd have the skill, but I'll have to find the persons who have the skill. All right?
Okay, that's a very good point there. So even if you don't
Even
have
if
the
I have
skill,
to, I think one of the persons you might have to use for my is his wife. I mean, it might sound strange.
yes,
That's because she's got, like she has a lot of power over him too. So you have to find a way to deal with these players. Remember, Lara, when you have these special persons playing your team, every team needs to have at least one person that the other teams fear.
right.
So in the days gone by, when you have a Chris Gale or you have, of course, a Lara, even when the team was coming down toward the
Just a
end.
minute, Lord appeal there from Cornwall. Are they going to review it? The umpire have given it not out, but Brathwaite has reviewed it. So just a minute coming to you, Mister. Are you watching the match, sir? So they have
Yeah, no,
reviewed this. So Cornwall bowling round the wicket to 𝚎𝚪 gets one to touchdown, similar to delivery to what was bowled to Chanderpaul. This one seemed to nick the hedge. There's a loud appeal. The umpire said not out, and they have reviewed it. So let's look. Cornwall round the wicket. It touched down. 𝚎𝚪 pushed at it. It leaves him good delivery, comes in with the arm, Very close to the bat. Oh, he probably didn't get a nick there. Let's watch. He probably didn't get a nick there. It looks like that ball passed the bat. Oh, let's
Yeah.
see.
No, no
Let's
Nick,
see.
no
Look
Nick.
at it.
No Nick, man. I'm watching it. I'm
No
watching it
nick,
now.
no, okay, no nick there, no nick. So good decision by the umpire, very good decision by the umpire. It hit his shoulder. It hit his shoulder. So very good decision there by the umpire, Mr.
Appeal
Davis.
again. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes. So you're saying that really and truly that our man management skills at the West Indies level is not what it needs to be. And if the personnel there don't have the skill, they should get outside help. Now, someone is asking, I think it's Glenn Camber. Glenn Camber is asking, what is the difference between Reefer and Myers? If Reefer cannot carry water for your schoolboy team, what is the difference between both of them? Because both of them are just the same.
How could you say that? Look at Carl Mears is, in my opinion, one of our best bowlers. Although people say he's the one who can move the ball. I mean, without him bowling too fast, the movement that he has on the ball, he needs to be managed too. But certainly, I wouldn't compare the two of them at all. I don't remember Reefer making a double century for West Indies. I don't know if that person knows that. If you're going to compare somebody who can make a double century in any kind of cricket, even if it's corridor cricket, it's not easy to make a double century. You have to be special, irrespective of which team. And look now, it's Bangladesh, but look at Bangladesh now compared to us. So I'm saying to us, if you're comparing somebody who makes a double century with somebody else, and I can't see that.
Okay,
And who
okay, sir.
many times he gets come on to get the breakthrough. I don't think he's bold enough. But when you have him on your team, it's two persons really.
So would you have Myers in your team ahead of Older? Do you think that Older should be in this team? Do you see Myers in
Uh
the team?
that's a difficult one. That is almost sentimental. I mean, Holder, I believe Holder's probably his best days are behind him. But Holder is a player who I respected. I think that for his size and his height, he could bowl much faster. I don't know what caused him not to bowl faster. But Holder, I would compare the two of them. I would have both of them in my team. Just that.
Okay, so Joseph continues to be expensive as he pitched up that one to Sharman, and Sharman just clipped it away down to the mid-wicket boundary for 4. So the score now moves up to 106. So Joseph continues to be expensive. Tony is saying, Mr. Davis, and I want you to think, I'm going to ask you the question. If you were the president of the Jamaica Cricket Association, I'm going to ask you, what would you do? But I'm just taking this question from Tony, who is saying that these players need to go back to get to play in county cricket in England and so on. How do you think that when we were playing county cricket in England compared to now, do you think that's a significant difference? Do you think that it helped us back in those days significantly, and that's what
I mean
contributed?
that's a no-brainer question. Of course, it helped us. If you look at what happened then, as
Yes,
opposed to what happened now, the experience they got. Remember, in England, you know, the ball move. You have the conditions there. If you can play in England, you can play anywhere. All right.
yes,
So definitely. And we can give me 1 second. Let me take a call and get back to you.
sure. So they're checking if that was a 6 or a 4. That ball from Joseph that was pitched into the pad and whip. Very interesting conversation from Mr. Davis. I'm going to ask him about the Jamaica Cricket Association election and so on, because he's a member of ISA, and I think ISA can nominate someone for the presidency of the Jamaica Cricket Association. I think ISA also have a vote at the Jamaica Cricket Association. It's a very interesting conversation with Mr. Stanford Davis, and I'm telling you, this gentleman loves cricket a lot. So it's actually 6. That shot was a 6. I thought it was a 4. Joseph continues to be expensive. So the score is 112 without loss, as Joseph now begins to move in to Sharma. As he passes the umpire and ball to Sharma wide outside the half stump, the batsman leaves that one to go through. So West Indies have been bowled out yesterday for 150, are steering down the feet at this time. As Sharma is on 44, with him Jarasal is on 54. So we are back. We are back with Mr. Davis. Mr. Davis, Mr.
Yes.
Casanova is saying that when he was growing up, cricket was on television. And why we give live comment, you will realize that I give the live commentary and the update of the score here, Mr. Davis, is that a number of persons are listening to us and not actually watching the cricket. And they
Right.
listen to hear the live score and the live ball by ball. So I intersperse that with this interview. But Mr.
No.
Casanova is asking you, that is saying that in the past, when we were growing up, cricket was on television, free to hear television, and it was on radio. And that allows a number of persons to fall in love with cricket. You think that Cricket West Indies should do what they can to get back cricket on free to air TV?
All right. Let me answer that in two ways. One, Mr. Casanova is young. That's the first thing I can say, because in my days initially, cricket, the first time.
Why would you say that he's young, Mr. Davis?
Because when I was watching cricket listening cricket as a boy, it was just on radio. I remember the first time when I watched on the black and white TV when India came to Jamaica, and I mean it was
Yes.
so, even the television, the quality and everything was so bad, and the camera to move it to get it to follow the ball and all of that. So our real baptism in cricket was actually on radio with Tony Cozy and Reds Pereira and all of those persons. And I tell you the truth, we don't have commentators now, because in those days you could listen to radio and you would create an image in your mind of the
But I heard
game.
you're a good. I heard you're a good commentator. I heard you're a good commentator. Can you give us some commentary
Not
on the
not
next
not not
over? Are you
not
watching
not,
the
not
cricket to give us some commentary on the next
I'm
over?
actually not in front of my TV. Actually, I was watching it on my phone, but it's kind of delayed, and I don't know if I'm a good commentator, but
We
what
are
I
in
can
over
say.
number 37. We are in over number 37. What are you seeing on your phone? Joseph is bowling. I think he has one delivery leave in the 37th over. Is that where you are?
Let me see. Oh, it's gone.
Oh,
Internet.
it's gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just I see
Okay.
some people running out on the field. Now it's tripping in and out. Uh,
Okay. It's shipping
Advertisement
in
going
and
on.
out.
Yes, but yes, one day I'll come on and do that. I prefer to see it live and commentate. Rather than from the TV. You're good at that, right? But
You're good at that.
no, you are good at that, man, not me.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but back to what I was
Thank you
saying. No,
very much.
back to
So,
what I was saying.
but
Back to what I
I
was
heard
saying.
that you are very good too.
That
I heard that you are a very good commentator.
uh, that's what Orville said. But
Okay,
but
sir.
seriously speaking, though, Mr. Brown, what we were speaking about in terms of the commentary and so forth and cricket, as a little boy, it was the radio that I would listen to. I remember when I was in high school, Manchester High School, and West Indies was playing in Australia, and that is in the night, okay? And when it was lunchtime or tea time, you know what I would do? I would get up and walk around the house so I wouldn't fall asleep. Because once they're commentating, I'm not going to fall asleep. But when it's
Right.
lunchtime and take the break, I would have to get up and walk around the house. So that and we're talking about transistor radio with battery radio, that we used to use, because in my community I had electricity at that time. Right? So it's battery radio we use, and I was little boy in grade one and
Uh,
two. I'm not talking
okay.
about when the big age.
Yeah, I understand. You're good. Yeah, let I tell you something when it comes to cricket. And one night I was watching cricket. It was in Australia. I think Australia was playing West Indies. I think Keppel Western was making some runs that night. It is the South African who represented Australia.
Right.
And so my stepbrother, that's my wife, husband's son, but he's not my brother. He's not my mother's child. No. So my mother, husband's son, not my brother, but his father got married to my mother. But we used to share the same room and share the same bed. And one
Hmm.
night Australia was playing a match against the West Indies. And I was listening, and he was there trying to prevent me from listening to the match. And I just lift him up and put him outside and lock the door. I could, yes, I did that.
So
I
why never
did
do it
that.
the other way? Why never do it the other way around? Mhm.
No, man, no, I did that. I mean, I'm stronger than him. Although
You should
I think I was
you
a
go outside
year
and
or
leave him.
so, I was a year or so older than him, but I was stronger than him. So I just lift him
probably
up and put him
probably still
outside and
stronger
lock
than
the
him
door.
though. Yeah.
His father was
Okay.
definitely not happy about it. His father
Mm-mm.
was definitely not happy about it. But Mr. Casanova is saying, though, that you should run for Jamaica Cricket Association president. We know that ISA as a vote, can ISA nominate someone for the presidency of the Jamaica Cricket Association?
Well, the mere fact that I don't even know that suggests that I certainly don't qualify to run for that position. That position is not for me, though. My thing is down at the grassroots to help as much as I can. I'm more interested in the schoolboy cricket at this time. In the past, schoolboy is not so easy to manage, but I prefer the schoolboy thing, and I don't have any ambition for that at all. If you notice, you have somebody in ISA who's responsible for cricket, not me. All right, so it's not really. I just want to do from where I am, and not so much to vie or to aspire for positions in any of these organizations. My job is to develop the students or anybody around the country in terms of cricket because I love cricket. But I wouldn't say that the Jamaica Cricket Association. Oh no, that is not
No,
my thing.
okay, but all right. So that's not your thing. But if you were, if someone had said that, Mr. Davis, we want you to be the president of the Jamaica Cricket Association, you are the man. What would you do as the president of the Jamaica Cricket Association? How would you go about to fix it? Because obviously you are aware that the problem is at the grassroots level. How would you
Right.
go
So,
about fixing that? Or how would you go about fixing that
well,
issue?
okay. I think that we have been doing some stopgap things right throughout in West Indies, in Jamaica Cricket Association. So the first thing we have to do, we have to probably start at both ends, right? We have to look at what is it that we want out of cricket, okay? And how do we get there? So we start at the grassroots. We have to introduce cricket at the lowest, starting from the primary school, grade 1, grade 2, right? So we have to get some funds. If we can't like go to all the schools, we can have community grassroots little weekend sessions where we introduce the students to cricket. But we also need to get some of the great cricketers to follow us, to come with us. So we have big advertisements. This week we are going to be at Manchester High School. Go to get all the primary schools out. We are going to have Courtney Walsh with us. We're going to have Michael Holding. We're going to have somebody who played for West Indies, right? And they are going to be there to run a little clinic to get persons interested. And then we are going to put primary school competition. It might not be that we have money to have this big, but we have a 1 day thing, the carnival, where we have a 5 over side with the little children, all right, and get the parents involved, and we start there, all right. We know at the high school level we have the under 14, under 16, under 19, so we can work with that, all right. The other thing we have to try to do. This might be difficult because you have the big schools who do well in cricket, and people, for want of a better word, solicit persons when they pass to go to another school to play for them. And sometimes it's warranted because the school that they're not playing any cricket. So that is something that is difficult to stop. But we want to have more schools, and the more persons you have playing cricket, the
Yes, sir.
better the cricket is going to become. Because
That,
and I don't want to hear anybody talk about this whole thing that they don't have resources. What did we have?
yes.
When we were going to play cricket, what did we have? We made our own things. These children get everything. So this generation too, I think we spoil them, right? I'm probably guilty of that too. We spoil them, they get everything and they just go and play. Right? So perhaps because I made my own bat and my own ball, then of course we have that. We need to play some catchy shubi too. That's the next thing, sir. We need to start play back some lunchtime. The children play catchy shubi. You know catchy shubi?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
you
I
only
used to play Tete Shubi. Yeah, yes.
yeah man,
I couldn't hold. I couldn't hold. I used to bat several days. And
all right. I
sometimes I
hear the
used
worst
to
part about Hear the worst part about catch shubi now. You bowl the ball, some the batsman hit it and me catch it. It's me go bat,
yes. Yeah, that is true. Do you used to listen to cricket with Walkman?
Oh,
Some they are
oh,
saying in
oh,
the chat they used to
oh
listen with
yes.
Walkman.
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
Okay. And someone
Definitely.
is also saying that the selectors are the one who are not selecting the right players. Do you think we have enough players at the Tony Ramsamy? I think he's from Guyana. He's saying that we are not selecting the right players. We have the players who can win matches, but we are not selecting the right players.
Okay. Well, if you remember when I started, I did mention that our best team needs to be playing. And if the best team is 11 from Trinidad, I don't mind, because it's West Indies, right?
Right.
What I'm saying is that persons must play by their merit. Okay, and I agree with him 100%. We need to get our best team playing. But how do we get our best team playing? All right, how do we do this? And
Like
as I said,
Sheldon is saying that someone like Puran is not going to give up $3 million US to play for the West Indies.
yeah, but here what happened. You should have grabbed him before.
How do we go around
Oh
that?
no, no, that's the point. You should have grabbed him before and start get that. That is the problem. You see,
Yes.
yeah, you have to grab these things from there early and let them come up, and then you structure your things so that they can go and make their money and still play for you. I know it's
Right.
tied to the ICC. India have money. Sometimes I wonder how India have so much money for cricket and so much poverty there same way. But anyway, India has money. Okay, so they can arrange. You notice that people we go and play in their IPL. Does India play in CPL?
No, they don't
They
play.
play.
They don't play in any cricket.
But
So
but do they
I don't
support
know about them,
CPL financially? Oh,
but Warrican is back into the attack. He'll be bowling to
mhm,
Jarasal. So Warrican is now back in the attack. India is 119 without loss after 38 overs. So 119 without loss. Rohit Sharma has brought up his half century. And
mhm,
the Jarasal is on 55. So 119 without loss. Warrican around the wicket to Jarasal. And he cuts this away. The man at backward point field. And there is no run. So the score remains 119 without loss. Mr. Davis, here on the screen is Glenn Campbell team. I'm just going to go through this over. I'm just going to commentate on this over as you look at Glenn Campbell team. Are you seeing the
okay.
team on the screen? That's Glenn Campbell team. I'm just going to ask you what
No,
you think about that team from Glenn Campbell. As Jarasal defends this one into the onside, Warrican now comes in again to bowl to Jarasal, left arm, round the wicket, ball to the left-handed Jarasal, who turns it to the man at short mid-wicket, and there's no run. The score remains 119 without loss. So Warrican is whizzing through. This is seventh over. Yeah, so far, about 6.54 overs, none for 20. The left-arm orthodox spinner from out of Barbados and the West Indies round the wicket, ball to Jarasal. Is on the back foot. He cuts. Cannot beat the man at backward point to his Chandapal. And there is no run. The score remained on 119 without loss. Jarasal seconds over his batters. Warrican receive the ball from Jason Ola. He looks around his field and see that everyone is in the right position. In he comes, round the wicket, ball to Jarasal, who defends down back the pitch, the bowler field on the offside. At the end of the over, India replying to West Indies 150 or 119 without loss. What do you think about that team that Glenn Campbell have on the screen, sir?
it's a very interesting team. That you get rid of most Chandapal, King, Hope, Admire. Yeah, those are okay. Silver. I wouldn't have Odin Smith in my test team. He can't last for 5 days, not fit enough. Um, Gabriel, I think he's coming back. Um, McCoy, Obed McCoy. Mm, not sure about
That looks
Obed.
like it's
And,
that look like it's more than 11 years here. I think he just put
mhm.
some players together. That looks
Okay.
like more than 11.
Moti is not bad. Obed is more. I think Obed is more T20, 50 over player. Uh, Mackenzie is young. He did well in
In
the
Bangladesh.
recent. Yes. I would have. He's in the squad, by the way.
Yes, he's in the squad. He's in the
Okay.
13. And I
Yeah.
had
Yeah.
expect him to play in this match, but I think that West Indies
I
go
couldn't.
into the
You
match.
know. You could tell
If you
me.
look at
You could.
the team
You
that
can
West
tell me, right?
Indies, pardon me,
You could
sir?
actually tell me. You know who I would drop for and put in Mackenzie, right?
Yes,
You can.
Reefer. You drop Reefer and
Oh.
put in Mackenzie.
Okay. Okay.
I know that, sir. Tony, I got your point, Tony, but I've invited Dr. Shallow here, and Dr. Shallow had assured me that he's going to come and talk to me. He assured me.
Okay.
The last time we had an interview with Dr. Shallow, I asked him a few questions that seems to ruffle his feather. And I think that Dr. Shallow is terrified of coming back to the cricket. Dr. Shallow don't want to answer any question from me. He's absolutely terrified of me.
So
He's a good
I
man.
mean,
And I know that he knows that I'm a good man too. But when it
Mr.
comes to
Brown.
cricket,
Hmm.
he's absolutely terrified. He will not come here. He will
I
never
have a
come here.
question for you. Yeah, Mr.
Yes,
Brown.
sir.
They ask the question, what's in a name? But you notice that in the Bible, whenever God make a change with some persons, he changed their name. I don't know if it's a shallow thing. This game, we need some deep thinking in this cricket thing.
Oh, you're finding a lot of shot there, Mr. Davis. Yeah, you're finding a lot of shot. Are you saying that instead of Dr. Shallow, we probably need Dr. Deep?
Oh
Yeah.
yes, but let me ask you something. He was the vice president, okay?
Yes,
As
sir.
far as I know, he was the vice president. He changed the president. How much you think is going to change? Is it that he was not given the opportunity as vice president to put his programs etc. forward, and now that he's president, he's going to start doing it? That's my concern. If you're having a change, because we have been having lots of changes recently. Um, I unfortunately still support our former president. Of course, he was a bit arrogant and so forth, but he was doing a good job as far as I'm concerned, getting us back together. Um, yes, Dave Cameron, I'm talking. I think not because he's Jamaican, young man, and I think he was doing a good job. I mean, he ruffled some feathers, and some players didn't like him because they want to have their own way. But I still, and of course, as humans, we all make mistakes and so forth. But I think that we need somebody who's strong to be at the helm of West Indies cricket at this time. And I don't think, but let's watch Mr. Shadow and see if he can dig deep and come up with something to ensure that we do well at cricket.
So there on the screen is another comment from Travis Brathwaite. So it's another Warrican overs coming up. I'm going to do the first three deliveries while you study that comment. And I want you to react to that comment from Travis Brathwaite that is on the screen. So India is 120. 120 without loss. Another over from Warrican. He'll be bowling to Kohli. A slip and a forward short leg. Kohli defends down the onside of the pitch. Warrican fielding his follow through and there's no run. So there's a short mid wicket, a slip, a forward short leg, a man at cover, and a man at mid-off as we watch Warrican round the wicket, and the left-arm orthodox spinner to bowl to Kohli as the Dominica flag flows in the background as Warrican up to Kohli, and that one pitched and turned and beat the outside edge, well taken by the keeper Joshua Da Silva, and the score remained on 120 without loss. Why is it that the Indian batsmen can bat so well on this pitch and our batsmen cannot bat the spin? As we watch Warrican again, this is the third delivery of his over. He turned the ball in his hands as he up now. He's about to comes in and he passes the umpire and ball to Sharma, and Sharma defends out into the cover. The man at backward point, Jason Olderfield, and there is no run. So after three deliveries, 120 without loss, what do you say about that remarks by Travis Brathwaite, Mr. Davis?
Okay. Well, the score is 121 now from on my phone, but yes.
Wow. So you're ahead of me. Good.
It seems so. All right. So it makes sense. It's a good comment in terms of the fact that it's like this goalposts keep moving. It depends on who, right? So we need to have one standard, but it also needs to be a standard that makes sense. But most rules do have exceptions, right? So I'm not averse to that. I remember years ago when Desmond Haynes was to play, and he wanted to come back in West Indies team, and this is what they said to him: you have to play in at least 2 first-class matches for you to make the team for the test. Problem is there was only 1 first-class match left. and on the sports news, they say Desmond Haynes was given an unplayable Yorker, even though that time it was not from Wakar Yunis. So the thing is this: we have to ensure that whatever rules we are making, let's say the Medes and the Persians, but I kind of don't believe in that 100%. Because when you look at equity, if you notice the difference between equality and equity, right? It's give each person a chance, right? And if the person is good enough to make the team, we have to find a way. But at the same time, we have to make sure that our players are disciplined, because discipline is a critical part of cricket. If you notice it, even in school, I can tell you, cricketers are probably more disciplined, much more than other sports people, right? Okay. So I do believe that yes, they find a way to make this person come in the team, and then the next one can come. But Chase, as I mentioned, well, he's not in this team. I'm surprised. He has been chasing his tail for a number of years, but I do believe that he.
So again, you're saying that Chase has been chasing his tails for a number of years, so you would not have Chase in your team?
No. And I see that
Okay.
big, strong, big, tall man. I thought he'd be bowling pace. You see him throwing up the ball. It just pains my soul.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. How do you react to that comment from Sheldon? There's
Uh,
Sheldon Smith. That's
Is it
his
the
comment.
same
How do
red
you
ball
react to
player
that
that he
comment?
was in 2019, or has he adjusted the skills to suit the T20 cricket? That's a good question. I don't think, because he has not played enough red ball cricket, right? Because the point I'm making, I'm saying these people should be playing. I'm not saying they should just come in the team. No, I'm saying that something went wrong. That they were not. I don't used to want to use the word forced or coerced, but they did not play enough red ball cricket at the time, so that those boys should be ready now. They should be the ones leading West Indies now. Hetmeyer should be captain for West Indies at this time. If he was properly nurtured from day one, the competition years ago, along with Alzari and those boys. And as I mean, he should be leading in this team now. The maturity, but no, he veer away and is now playing T20, playing for money rather than playing for his country. You understand me? Did
Yeah.
he play
Yeah.
T20 for West Indies this year?
So you are saying that they were not managed
Properly
properly. They
from
were
that
not
time.
guided properly because
Right.
there is a way for them to play T20 and still represent the West Indies.
That
No,
is the point.
Mr.
You have Australia,
no,
this man playing T20, 50 over and playing test match cricket. It's not
yes.
a.
So Travis Brathwaite is making a point, but while you look at the comment of Travis Brathwaite, I just want to make the point that most West Indies players who play T20 cricket, they play in the Indian Premier League. That's where they make the bulk of their money. That's where they
Right.
make. At no time from the inception of the IPL 15 years ago, at no time a West Indies schedule ever clash with the IPL. And that's where the players makes the bulk of the money. It doesn't
Right.
clash with the IPL none at all. So
Right.
this argument that it contradicts and conflict with West Indies schedule is not true. The
No, it's
CPL
not.
is also the other tournament that most of these guys play.
And that is
It
playing
is
in the West
our
Indies. So,
tournament. So
so
it is
that's not
our
a problem.
tournament. You know, the big bash in Australia, West Indies usually don't play cricket around December, early January. It
Mm.
doesn't conflict. It's just 1 and 2 T20 tournament, which doesn't pay a lot of money like the big three that usually cause a little conflict. And I'm sure that these players would give up some of these local T20 franchise to play for West Indies. So
I have
it
a
goes
question though.
back down to man management.
Question,
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Brown. I don't have the answer, but in compared to other countries in the world, in terms of West Indian cricketers, in terms of their remuneration, how do they compare with other countries for Test cricket?
Well, for a test, I can tell you this: when it comes to the retainer contract that our players gets, only India, Australia, and England are better paid than the West Indies Test players, both match fee and retainer contract. Our
Right. So,
match fee and our retainer contract is higher than Pakistan, South Africa, Zimbabwe, all of those teams. Only
so,
India,
so the
England, and
question,
Australia are ahead of
right?
us.
Thank you for that answer. And therefore, my question again is it really a question of money?
It goes back down to what you said, sir. Managing the players, the
Right.
management of the players. It goes back down to what you said, the management of the players. And if they don't have the skills, they should find the persons to manage these players.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So
All
yes,
right.
sir. So yeah, Mr. Casanova is saying that here is each island needs to pick their most talented players and groom them into world class players. What do you think about that? But don't you think we are doing that already?
Uh, That's what I'm thinking. That's what we should be doing. Or that's what, yeah, I think that's what we're doing, or we're trying to do. Sometimes we miss. The other thing though, Mr. Brown, you realize though that Jamaica Cricket Association depend heavily on ISA for their cricketers for the junior
And
program.
for clarity, ISA mean the Intersecondary
Secondary.
School Sports Association in Jamaica. So you're saying JCA depend heavily on your boys.
Right. Right. So, which competition the JCA uses to get youth players apart from the ISA competition?
There's none, sir.
It therefore
So you
means,
say that JCA needs to pump money into the school program.
naturally, it has to. Although the objective of ISA is not so much the same as the Cricket Association, but if you wanted us to assist them, well, we're assisting already, but you need to do something to ensure, even if you don't pump it into the actual schools themselves, but to assist with getting the grounds, providing the things that the infrastructure that is required. You know, do they develop any play field? Is there a way of having each parish have a play field that is manned through the Cricket Association, that we know this is a parish field? I know Manchester High School is used for Manchester Parish. I know that St. Elizabeth Technical was used. There's some like a conflict there between that and that, which I won't get into. But is there a parish thing that belongs to the Jamaica Cricket Association, that they say this is our ground? We can have our competitions here. Other people can use it. Persons can use it. They can rent it, and so. Is there such a thing, or is it that they don't have the funds to do these kind of things? And what do they do to raise funds? Is there a banquet? Is there some kind of fundraiser for Jamaica Cricket Association, or is it that they have enough money? I don't know.
So Glenn Campbell is asking you, sir. And there's Glenn Campbell saying that if Myers is such a good bowler, why haven't he bowled more than 10 overs in any match?
Well, you'd have to ask the captain.
But you think that you see Myers as a world-class bowler?
Yes, sir.
And you will have always have Myers for the foreseeable future. Myers is a must pick in your team.
Well, there's nobody who is must pick. You're picked based on on how you play, your merit. I
Right,
mean, today you might be up and down, but given a long run and properly nurtured, you know that I think initially Myers was really a bowler who bats, right?
right.
But when I saw him, what I look at is the way he bowls, the way he moves the ball, the things that he does with the ball. I think that we need a bowler like that in the team. Understand? And you can look back at the matches that he played, when he come on, the difference that he makes. Right?
Okay. Yeah, he tend to get wickets a lot. There seem to be an issue here with Raheem Cornwall. Is there an issue here? The physio is out on the field. That's another comment coming. Welcome to the show, Renal Madugal. I think it's the first I'm seeing you on the live chat. So welcome. Thank you for being here. How do you react to what Renal Madugal say, Mr. Davis?
What he saying? Lawrence Alvin College make our cricket proud holder. That have to go. Eh, okay, that's kind of a little bit drastic, um, but it has merit. I mean, we need to invest in our young people, but at the same time, we need to have a mixture. You can't just throw it to everybody and start over new. That might be a thing that change everything. I don't know. It's a revolutionary move, a drastic change like that. But at the same time, you have to balance. In life, any extreme is not good. So you have to learn to balance. So you need to have some of the experienced players there, because there are times when the going is going to get tough like now. And you need somebody who has been there, done that, to reassure you. So you can't just have all young players, right? But you need a balance.
But Mr. Davis, what about the theory? Because some people put it forward that it is the experienced players who are affecting the youngsters, because the youngsters come into the squad and come into the team with good attitude. But then the senior players there then change that good attitude and saying, what you're doing, you're working too hard, man. You don't need to go to the gym. You don't need to bat 500-600 balls a day. No, you
Uh,
don't need to do that. What is that? What about
well,
that? That the senior players are, there's a culture at the West Indies team among these senior players, which when the youngsters join the squad, they change their good attitudes.
all right. Let me answer that in two ways. One, I would have to have evidence of that. All right, unless it's persons from the inside that tell you that. But two, West Indies would have their program, and whether you're senior or junior, you must have a program that you work by, and we'd expect that everybody to adhere to the program or they go. So I can't see a senior player having that influence to say that you mustn't face. Because I remember Chandapar when he was there. he would bat night and day, right? So if you have senior players who don't have that attitude, then they're just senior player in age. But I'm talking about senior players who have the authority, who put in the work and can show the results for it. So unless I have inside information and the evidence to show that senior players would do that, I doubt if that would happen. But I do believe that you must have persons with the experience there, because nothing beats experience, you know. The young players are going to be getting their experience from playing, okay, and they need to play more. But finally, well, not finally, but we need to play more cricket, right? I mean, it
Okay.
has been
So
improving
what?
recently.
Jarasal is on 57. Sharma is on 57. The score is 128 without loss. The end of another Warwick over. Now, the, we have sufficient evidence, though, Mr. Davis, and we have heard this a lot, that in the West Indies team there's really great player power. That is, the power resides with the player. How do you counter that argument? That the power actually reside with the players.
I would say that if the power resides at the player, we need to look at the management, because remember that power can reside with player if they are players, if they are great players. I mean, these mediocre players cannot have power. The performance of the West Indies tells you that these are mediocre, whether you experience or not. Right? If you look at the averages of the players and the authority of them in terms of their performance, so the performance is what would have to make them powerful. Right? Nothing else could be there. What kind of power can they have? Persons who are fighting to make the team. Right? They can't have power. I don't know where they get that. Who in that team would have power? We have a former captain. Holder is a former captain. We have Brathwaite. You have Blackwood, who is vice captain. I'm trying
But
to. Yeah, Roach, who is in and out.
persons will look at it and say that when Phil Simmons resigned,
Right.
Craig Brathwaite came out and said that they don't need any overseas coach. They need a coach that understands the culture of West Indies cricket. And there they are, although over 22 coaches applied for the position from all over the world, it ends up being a West Indian, albeit one that I rated highly, got the position of coach. And they are looking at the influence of Brathwaite saying that we do not need an overseas coach. And that shows player power.
Uh, that could be a coincidence. I mean, because they would have gone through a process. You know, when you're selecting person, you go through your interview process, your shortlist, etc. Of course, you need somebody who understands the culture of the persons that they're dealing with.
Yes.
I don't think West Indies need to import. The possibility exists that some of them might respect outsiders more, but we have so many great cricketers. I mean, we are the greatest in the world. We don't really need to go outside to get persons to be in charge of our cricket. It tells us though that I mean, football, everything, we're getting coaches from outside. We have been getting coaches from outside for different areas. But I think once you can pay, you can get your best coach. But
So,
you need a team that has somebody who knows your culture also, and the coaching is one position, but it's really a team and a team effort, a management team. So once you have somebody there who understands the culture, it doesn't necessarily have to be the coach, but it's a tricky one. I think it's coincidence though that happens, you know.
how do you respond to Carrie's comment?
Okay, we have to stop blaming money because we're getting money. What's going on with the finance is another story. Yes, I
Just
think
a
we need
minute
to.
as you think about just a minute as you think about that. Cornwall is leaving the field, and this is going to
Okay.
cause a big controversy right now. For those persons who think that Cornwall should not be in the squad because of his fitness issue, and the argument have always been that he has never left the field in a test match, and persons who are slimmer and fitter than him are leaving the field. Now, he leaving the field now, this is going to cause a big controversy because those who believe that Cornwall should not be in the squad because of his size and his fitness level, they are now going to come and say, see there, we told you he cannot last the match. So we hope it is not serious. We hope that he will return very soon. But at this moment, he's leaving the field. What do you say about that, Mr. Davis? Before you go to
Well,
Carrie's comment, what do you say about Cornwall leaving the field?
okay. I mean, if it was a slim person leaving the field, probably nobody would say anything. Injuries and so are part of the game. For the person to qualify to be on the team, they have to have a certain fitness level. They would have tested them, and once the person passed that, I don't think his size this it should not be discriminated against. So many persons leave the field. Roach, I mean, what's the difference if Cornwall leave the field? You don't know what happened, right? Anybody can get injured in a game, right? No matter how fit you are. So I wouldn't support that, sir. Sure.
Okay, so your reaction to Carrie's comment?
Yes. Yes, I think that, as I said, my principle is the Moses principle. You use what you have. Right? I don't think it's blaming money that we are now. It's just that persons are greedy and want to get more money, so they go where they can. So you have to balance it now to know how to deal with them. I mean, people want better lives for themselves, and therefore they'd go. If you look at the teachers, right? That's another sore point. The teachers are going away because they want to make a better life for themselves and their families. And the same thing happens in cricket and other areas. So if people can find more lucrative ways, we can stay and talk, right? Because we are the spectators. But we don't know the insides of these things. So we have to get more information. But I do believe that in terms of what they are paid, as you mentioned, only the few countries that are paid more than them. And at the same time, you can balance the money that they get for test cricket and our ranking in test cricket and see if we are getting value for money and how how we feel when a team like
So,
India comes to the West Indies, and I don't say we have to win, but to be embarrassed is what I'm concerned about. We have to be competitive, and we have to go back to where we can be competitive against these big teams,
do
and
you believe
therefore.
Do you believe Sherwin who's saying that our biggest problem is the selectors? Do you believe that what Sherwin is saying? I know that you have addressed it earlier, but do you think that they are really the biggest problem?
I am not sure that in terms of the scouting and so that's sufficient is done. The selectors work off the information they have, but I do know that sometimes other persons have influence on selectors. They don't know what happened behind the doors, and sometimes you have to wonder.
So you
But
said you do know that persons influence the selectors, sir? You say you do know?
well, I don't have any evidence, but I know that based on some things that I hear sometimes that persons can influence selectors in terms of
Like prime ministers influencing selection,
mm,
sir?
no, not certainly not. I'm talking about sports people now, not prime minister at all. Mm-mm.
So you're
I have
sure
no
you know?
idea of I don't have no idea of any prime minister would want to influence selector unless it's a prime minister who really love cricket. I doubt that though. I wouldn't think so. Prime
You
ministers
know
don't.
that prime, but Jason Older said it, sir, that there are times when he was captain and he want to pick who he think is the best player, and he gets a call for very high influential people,
And
and he has
and he
to
said
pick.
prime minister.
He
No,
didn't say
that's what I'm
prime
saying.
minister, but he said political. He used the word political. He has
Yeah,
to make the
but
political
yeah,
selection.
right. But remember, you have cricket politics. So political does not necessarily mean politicians in that sense. Um, okay, it could be somebody in cricket. But what I'm saying is that there's a notion that there are persons who have influence and say, boy, this person has to play, right? And by the time the selectors they end up with basket carrying water. So I'm not going to jump and say they are the problem. The problem could be bigger than that.
So you say that the problem could be it has been fascinating having you here, having you here, Mr. Davis. We have got so many insight from especially someone who loves the cricket so much, an educated person, someone who likes the cricket, and have made great effort to ensure that players come through the system, and I'm sure the persons in the chat have really glad to have her here. Here's Winston King says it. Here's Winston King making a remark saying that the
Yes,
so-called experienced players are not doing anything.
that's
They
probably
look
right.
more out of sort than the
I,
debutants.
hold on. That's the so-called ones, but I'm talking about not the so-called ones, the experienced ones. I
But
don't know
who
if
is not this? Who on this team would you call not so called? Because I agree with Winston King and
mm,
Mr. Davis.
mm,
I agree with
eh,
Winston King. So
eh,
who on this team? If you look at the averages
well,
of the experienced players,
mhm. But that's the best. Okay, that's the best we have in terms of because really of a fact, if you're going to be using, you have to use the statistics to make a judgment. So really, if you look at West Indies team, no, most of the batsmen have average of bowlers. Bowlers in the past for West Indies used to have better average than some of these batsmen that we
batsmen,
have. Yes,
yes.
so it's part of the problem that we have. But I wouldn't go as far as saying that they're not doing anything. There are times when they do something, and I'm not going to use
But
this
isn't it too far apart, sir? Isn't these
for
senior
anybody.
players performing too far apart? Because coming up in this second innings, Mr. Davis, a 50 shouldn't keep you in this team for the next match now. Which
Uh,
is a regular thing that persons like Reefer and Blackwood are going to do. They're going to crack a
listen,
50 in the second innings and then secure the game for the next match. And that should not be the case.
as it relates to you said Reef again, but okay, let me look at Blackwood. Blackwood, I think his best days are behind him too. Based on what I would have seen. At one time he was coming very good. But to be honest with you, Mr. Brown, do you think we play enough red ball cricket for our cricketers? Are we fair to them in terms of the number of matches that we play as it relates to the red ball cricket? I think that's part of the problem because match experience is different, you know. They're few and far between, and that's part of the challenge we have. Okay, we need to play more cricket at the highest level.
So you're saying that we need to, because a number of persons in this community have always said it, that we need to play like 10 rounds of regional red ball cricket. So,
Right.
so when you say that, a number of persons, well, the vast majority of the persons who are in this chat, who are in this community, will agree with you that we need to play more cricket. But Sherwin is making a point there, but India is showing us how to bat and what patience you need to be a good test player. They are certainly doing that. Don't you agree with that, Mr. Davis?
Definitely, and that's the point I wanted to make too. Is that when I go back to Chandler Paul, sometimes we have cricketers who look nice when the button so he had his own style, but one of the main thing is that he wanted to stay there. He wanted to bat, and cricketers over the world. You mentioned sometimes when the younger ones come into the team, they develop the culture of the older ones and so forth. But I believe that there are has to be certain standards. Information is not hidden. We know Hussey, for example, when he was playing for Australia, when he's going to do the pull shot or whatever for the day, one day facing hundreds and hundreds of balls, doing the shot over and over. Because you have, muscle memory, and that only comes from repetition, right? And that is why we are trying to get our youngsters into that vein. In order for us West Indies to start winning again, we have to face the fact that, as Hooper said it, well, it's going to get lower, but it's going to get better. Probably not before our time, but I do believe that it can't get much worse than this, and therefore I think the corner we're talking about. I was thinking this morning about us turning the corner, and I remember the story of how Porus got its name when they were making the train line, and the foreman would tell them every week they want to go home and say, "What? Just round the corner, just round the corner." I've been hearing that for years now that West Indies is going to turn the corner. I am wondering if this is a continuous corner. All right, but we can talk some more. And thank you.
Yes, so Bradwaite has come into the attack. It's just 15 minutes. I hope you have 15 minutes to go. It's just 15 minutes before lunch. Can you stay another 14 minutes with us? That's another 3 over. Are you busy as to go? Are you
Well,
tired?
no, not tired, certainly not tired. I'm busy, but I will just. I mean, 15
Yes.
minutes is not going to make much
What do
difference
you
to
say
what I have
about
to do.
Nehemiah comment? Yeah, we just want to go through until lunch. What do you say about Nehemiah comment?
Is that Nehemiah Perry?
Well, maybe, because a lot of influential persons watch this channel, a lot of umpires, and Cricket West Indies watch this
Yeah,
channel. No, they will tell you they
okay,
watch this channel.
but what? Yeah,
A
that
number of
sentence.
times.
That sentence from Nehemiah could just have come from me, sir. Uh-huh.
So you agree with that sentence?
It's the players that we have playing now just not good enough. In terms of the
They-
standards that they are. I'm not
yes.
saying that there are players who are not good enough in the West Indies, right? Um,
Okay.
I see players who are good enough in the 2020 and the 50 over, and they can be converted. But I think there's a lax in the whole thing.
But I
Okay.
think this point that Glenn Campbell is making, I think that you have made that point that you use
I
what you
say, I say,
have.
I say that's what I'm not sure what Glenn is saying. He said, "Come on, principal, use what you have. That's the only thing I can use, sir. Shovel
Yes.
when you want a broom. If you use a shovel when you want a broom, you're not using what you have. If you're using a shovel when you want a broom, you mean that you don't have the broom. Same as the shovel you have. So you have to scrape up the things them with the shovel, and so okay, you don't have the broom to do the fine sweeping. That's how I see it. Okay.
Okay. So yeah, here's Norman Ferguson. So Norman, that is Brathwaite. It's Brathwaite into the attack. It's 138 without loss. So India is cruising at this time with just about 2 or 3 overs to go before lunch on the second day. They are 138 without loss, replying to the West Indies 150. So Norman Ferguson, how do you react to Norman Ferguson comment?
Okay, we need a group of players which can play and who are patriotic in playing cricket for the West Indies, just like in the years leading up to 1975. Oh boy, let me tell you something. The world has changed. We have become a selfish set of people. You know, when I was a boy growing up, if I want a photograph, it would have been a challenge. I have to get somebody. No, if I want a photograph, take it myself. So the selfie and the selfish and the selfishness of the world is now impacting us. So persons are not patriotic as they used to be, right? What they do, they think about me, myself, and I, right? And it's a culture that has come on. I think that a group of us have failed in terms of how we educate our children, how we culture them, how we pass on the culture. Because nowadays, persons just go online. If you go in a home, you see 4 persons, everybody on their own device doing their own thing. So it's a kind of self. The world is kind of made that way now. That is why they're talking about some 21st century skills, which include collaboration. You want people to collaborate and to think. I heard something interesting when I spoke about federation, when Jamaica chose not to go for the federation, and they said 1 from 10, Eric Williams said 1 from 10 leaves 0, and hence it did not go through. I understand that since then, there has been this thing in the Caribbean where persons still have Jamaica up for it, and they try to become better than Jamaica. So you have this kind of segregation. I'm happy that in the last CARICOM thing they mentioned that persons can have free movement in more areas than they used to across the Caribbean. Next year that will come on stream. I think that will make a difference because one of the things that we kind of leave out of the equation is the fact that not only persons have become individualistic, but each group of each nation, each island in the even when you have 2 countries. I was watching the parliament, Trinidad and Tobago, and it's like Tobago and Trinidad. The Tobago person is saying some things that they're not getting enough from Trinidad, etc. So we have become individualistic in terms of persons and in terms of each little island. So we
So
have to come
as
and
you talk about individualistic, and I saw Javon Reed is saying that the West Indies maybe should be playing more test matches again, like Scotland and the Netherlands and so on. But before we go to that, you're talking about individualistics and selfie, and people become selfish, and we are now becoming more individualized. Since our failure to qualify for the ODI World Cup, a number of persons, I've heard even Chris Daring came out and said that we need to go alone. We need to go alone. And this West Indies, this thing West Indies should be segregated and the countries go alone. What are your views on it, sir?
You could almost answer that for me, right? Okay, I
No,
would never
because
agree.
I don't. My views
I
are
would never,
very
based on
strong.
what I
My
just said
views are
before.
very strong. I think that we should remain the same. We should remain together because I have said it many times years, and
Look,
the
I did
persons in
before when
this
I said that
community know my
yeah,
opinion.
it's important. Listen, think about it. Think about how much history would be destroyed. Think about if every Caribbean is relative islands, put them together. I know one time we had some persons don't know, we had the combined islands, Windward and Leeward Islands. Then it became Windward having their, Leeward having theirs, right? I know that it might seem okay. Let Jamaica find their 11 or 12 players to play for Jamaica. This same Jamaica is beaten by Trinidad, Barbados, different places. And when you put all of us together, right, we are losing. And you want to go by yourself now to go and face, well, you wouldn't qualify anyway to play against them, right? So I think that is short-sightedness. History might prove me wrong, but I do believe that if I had a sheet of paper, if we stay together, we will be stronger. Okay? The selfishness of saying how many Jamaicans represent West Indies, and so if everybody playing good cricket and West Indies doing well, guess what will happen to the other cricketers? There are so many opportunities around the world and in the West Indies for persons to make money from cricket without playing for West Indies. Even though that might be a negative in the sense that some people who can play for West Indies are using those avenues and hence depriving West Indies. But the heads in the Caribbean, like how they sit down and say they're going to have free movement and so, they have to also look at cricket, because cricket is something that keeps us together. And if we're going to have free movement, cricket has to be something that really binds us together.
So and the reason why we should stay together, I can spend all day talking about that. But there are 2 points that I want to make why it is very important. If we separate, how many persons are going to lose job immediately? There may be more than 1,000 persons who are going to lose their job immediately if West Indies should break up.
But that probably don't matter though. That will matter though, because we're selfish.
The second point that I want to make is that what are the top 5 sports in the region?
Cricket, football,
how well are we doing individually at those sports?
Track and field, I guess.
We rank top 10 in cricket as a region. As the West Indies team, we are in the top 10 in cricket.
We're probably there on the 10 teams.
Take for example Barbados. Where in the world does Barbados rank in netball? Where in the world does Barbados rank in football? Where in the world does they rank in track and field? So I'm saying that if individually we are way down the ladder in these sports, but collectively we are in the top 10 in cricket, why do we want to break up that?
But I have a question
when the sports that we are doing individually, we are nowhere near the top.
Mr. Brown, some persons would argue though that in the other sports we are individualistic. Why cricket? I'm just playing devil's advocate here now. Why in cricket we stay together, and in the other sports, which we have never really been together, we have always been that way. The history is that cricket is different from the other sports, right? And therefore, but some person might argue that track and field Jamaica go by themselves, football Jamaica go by themselves, netball they go by themselves, badminton, table tennis, you name it, weightlifting, bodybuilding. I think Jamaica do every sport now. Bobsled team.
But when you look at it though, Mr. Davis,
right,
the West Indies is not the only member of the ICC who is more than one country. There are other members of the ICC, and we can look at even England. The ECB is made up of Wales and England, but yet still when it comes to other sport, Wales play football separately from England. Wales play netball separately from England, but when it comes to cricket, they are one team. So there are other teams as member of the ICC who is made up of more than one countries. And so
I thought you're going to ask a question too. Which other sport you have when you go to bat, are you facing you're the only one facing the ball that ball to you? All right.
Mr. Davis, Glenn Campbell is firing a shot at you, sir. Glenn Campbell is firing a shot at you. How do you respond to that shot that Glenn Campbell fired at you? I think it's the second time he's firing a shot at you, sir. So Glenn Campbell is asking. There's Glenn Campbell.
He's not asking a question. He's just sorry for me.
He's just sorry for you.
Yeah, man.
He's just sorry for you. He needs to give you some more money. He needs to give you some more money to run your program.
Right. So I need to get in touch with him.
Okay. Yes.
I hope he's not Titus though.
Oh, I hope it's not Titus then Cameron, and he's a Jamaican, you know. It well maybe Titus, you know, because he's a Jamaican. He's a
By the way, you
Jamaican.
know that Titus is British
Yeah?
originally. Yeah, Glenn Campbell. Yeah. All right.
Yes, so Mr. Davis, I want to thank you for being here, sir. I just want to allow you to give a final comment and to make a final appeal of how they can support what you are doing at Mayday High School, sir, and what we can
Oh,
expect from Mayday High School. I need. Oh, I think I talked to you already, sir, about a parent who called me yesterday. I think I talked to you
yes, sir.
about it, so we'll
Yes, you
talk
did.
some more about it. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
All
yeah,
right. Thank you
yes,
very
sir.
much, Mr. Brown. Thank you, listeners. Thank you for the comments, Mr. Campbell. I like that word, poor Mr. Davis. All right. Um, I want to say that the program we have at Mayday, I mentioned the fact that it's not being selfish. If you go to any school that plays cricket, most of them would know me, all the boys at the school. So my real aim is to develop cricket in Jamaica and the West Indies. Of course, that's the first aim. But at the same time, I am at Mayday and we have talented students there. The challenge we have is the finances and the support. Already persons have come on board. There's one company who promised me that next season he'll give me all the water that I need for my boys. So, because he saw the performance of the West Indies and he saw the performance of my boys, and he wants to help West Indies cricket because he loves cricket. I don't have permission to call his name right now, but I hope next time I'll be able to. And I'm asking for more persons to come on board because you're not going to lose. You see, if you're doing a business and you don't get the young people involved in activities that will keep them away from criminality, they are the ones who are going to come back to you. So better you spend the money up front to help these young people than for them to come and take it from you forcefully. So we're asking all the business people to really assist cricket, assist Mayday High School. It's a rural school. It's an upgraded high school, started as a primary school, and I am sure it's the first upgraded high school. Mr. Brown, you can research this for me. The first upgraded high school to reach the finals of the Headley Cup. All right. I could be wrong, but that's the information I have. You're good at research. I'm going to ask you to research and give us that information. So I am so very proud of them. I want others to come on board with us and to show that we can compete irrespective of where we are. And driving the loaded trailer through the junction, totally out at sea, that's interesting. But I will continue to fight the fight. And, you know, there are some things that seem impossible with men, but with God, all things are possible. And at Mayday, we are praying school, so we know that we are going to continue to surprise people. And yes, Mr. Campbell, we are going to be at sea driving a trailer, and we're still going to come out on top. And we're not going to implode or explode like what happened when somebody was trying to see the Titanic. We know that we are going to do well, and we continue. Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Just Adrian Bishop is saying, what is the Mercury rule? Do you know what's the Mercury rule, sir?
No, sir. The mercury rise. Oh, when you get heat, I don't know. I know mercury rise when it's heated. All right.
Yes. So there's Kaza saying that well done, Mayday, and
thank you.
Person said, who is Mr. Simpson?
Coach, Mayday coach, man.
Oh, Mayday coach.
Yes, man. Oh, yes. Yes.
So Shaquille is saying, big up to Mr. Simpson. Yeah, right. So it was great being here. Mr. Davis, I hope that we'll do some commentary together one day, and I hope that we'll come back. I'm very sorry to keep you here so long today, but I just wanted us to go until lunch. I think it's just one overleave before lunch, but you can go. Yeah?
What's the score now?
144 without loss. Sharma is
on. You were going to say for one. Oh, gosh.
Sharma is on 67. Jarasal is on. So Atanes is going to bowl the final over before lunch. So, you know, the people of Dominica will be very proud. What do you think about Atanes? What do you think about Atanes? What do you think about Atanes?
That's a very good young man. I'm proud of him. And he might just surprise you getting a wicket in his one over now.
So this Shaquille. So Mr. Simpson was at Eltham because there's one Shaquille.
Yes, man. And is him Coach Stephanie and those people? No? Stephanie Taylor.
He coached Stephanie and Williams.
Yes,
Williams was on the show sometime last year. Rashada Williams was on this. Yeah.
Yes, man.
Okay.
That's the boss.
He's the boss?
Yeah, man.
I thank you very much, Mr. Davis. It was a pleasure. I look forward to you coming back
Yeah,
again,
pleasure
sir.
was all mine.
I really
All right.
enjoyed it,
And thank
and I
you to
really
your,
hope
to your listeners and subscribers. Thanks for the comments, and it will only make us better. All right. Bye, Mr. Campbell. Blessing. Hope to meet you one day.
all right. All the best, sir.
Thank you, sir. Blessing.
Blessing, sir. Good, good. As Athanaze to bowl in the final over before lunch. And what a fascinating conversation that was with Mr. Davis. He's round the wicket, ball to Sharma, and Sharma drives this down to the man at mid-wicket, and there's no run. The score, 144. 144 without loss, replying to 150 made by the West Indies. Sharma is on 67. Jarasal is on 61. Athanaze, the right arm off spinner from Downwick and the West Indies, round the wicket, ball to Sharma, down the leg side. He turns this away, down back with a square. It runs toward the boundary. They have gone for one. Let's see if they'll come back for the second as Ola circles the boundary and field. And they stay on one. The score moves up to 145 without loss. We are in the final over before lunch. This is over number 55. As Jarasal on 61 comes into strike. Rohit Sharma is on 60. So let me get my glasses here. Rohit Sharma is on 68. Jarasal is on 61. 145 without loss. We're in the 55th over. India now are just 5 runs behind as Athanaze in his first over in Test cricket. It's made it over. He's going to go around the wicket to bowl to the left-handed Jarasal, who stepped away and just seconds himself as West Indies made some adjustment in the field. So they are putting in a slip. There's a short cover, backward pointer, mid-off, a mid-on, a short mid-wicket man and the backward square leg boundary. Now the field is ready as Jarasal seconds over his bat. Athanaze round the wicket, ball to him. Outside the assump, the batsman leaves alone. It goes through to the keeper, and there is no run. The score remains 145 without loss. Jarasal seconds. Athanaze again round the wicket to bowl to Jarasal. In he comes, ball to Jarasal. Outside the stump, and he hit this away through the covers. He's running very close to the boundary, but there's Chandapal on the cover boundary who field, and there's another single. The score moves up to 146 without loss. So one delivery to go before lunch. Rohit Sharma is on 68. Jarasal is on 62. 146 without loss. Athanaze in his first over in Test cricket. Let's see if he will continue around the wicket to Rohit Sharma. So Cornwall has not returned to the field. There's a slip, a leg slip, a forward short leg, final delivery. Athanaze round the wicket to bowl to Sharma in now, and he bowled to Sharma, and Sharma turns this to the field at forward short leg, and that's lunch. That's lunch on the second day of the first test match between India and the West Indies. At lunch, India are 146 without loss, replying to the West Indies 150. Someone said that West Indies will bowl for a week and don't get any wicket. And at this time, it looked like that. So India have pushed on nicely, and the West Indies bowling attack is unable to get a wicket. My position on this is that our bowlers, we picked the wrong bowlers. We have been saying that all along. That Older is not penetrative enough. I said about a week ago, you remember about a week ago, I said to you that although Roach has such good figures in the West Indies, that I think that the son has set on his career. And it shows again today. He bowled tight, of course, but he didn't have the penetration. So too was Older. Tight, no penetration. Joseph, who tried to be the aggressor, who tried to be the enforcer, was a little expensive, or probably more expensive than we wanted to be. All in all, the spinners did not make an impact. We saw the difference in the quality of spinners. And should we blame the groundsman for preparing this pitch? Would the pitch have mattered any at all? I don't think so. But I think that we should have, the groundsman should have prepared a pitch with a little more grass on it. So at lunch, on the second day, India 146 without loss, replying to West Indies 150. Thank you all for being here today. Please slash a like on the video and click on the subscribe button. Throughout this broadcast, we did not make mention of our official partner, One Win, but the links are in the video description. Please click on the One Win link in the video description and register with One Win today. And West Indies may not be winning, but you can win. by registering with 1 win. And remember, when you make a deposit, you get a 500% bonus credit. Thank you all for being here. Have a great day. Well done, Nehemiah. Blessing and be good now. One love. Take care of yourself. Have a great day.